I want to share with you is it's not in the video. I'm sorry. We are recording this also, by the way, so you can see it back later. But I want to share a latest study, which is only 2 weeks old, actually at the University of Twente. This is Romy Buursink, who did a study. It was her master thesis. She was also one of my ex-students, and she got interested in the whole topic of purpose marketing and decided to do her master's study on it. Really interesting study, I must say. She did together with Professor Menno de Jong and Thomas van Rompuy. And Thomas knows also a lot about the issue. He's on my promotion committee. And I work a lot with him on this topic as well. And she did a study into brands and promises, purposes, and marketing strategies, and just some main findings. I won't bore you to death with all the details, but these are some highlights. So the main 3 reasons that Romy actually wanted to answer is: in what way is purpose incorporated in the business operations of purpose-driven brands, and how is this communicated to the consumer? And she resolved that by doing a literature study. And then, that's interesting, she went into an online experiment, which I will come back later on as well, to answer the question, does it make a difference whether the brand is from a profit-first or an impact-first company? And I gave you in my lectures an overview of Alex, who made a split into 3 different kinds of companies in terms of how serious they were about a purpose. Here's a split into 2. So is it the company that's going after profit first, or is it the company where the impact on the purpose issue, usually the social issue, is actually more important? So nice, interesting way to look at it as well. And then, does it make a difference? And she also tried to find out in the same online experiment. It was an exploratory experiment, so there were no hypotheses involved with that experiment. But does it make a difference which communication strategy companies then follow? And she had 3. Either emphasize what the company does for the environment, very much talking about yourself. Pointing out what consumers can do for the environment, so trying to promote the idea of the purpose and trying to get more people activated behind it, and highlight what we can do together to save the environment. And she was interested to find out, does it make a difference how you communicate it for the effectiveness in marketing terms? And basically, here are the hypotheses that she answered with the literature study. Is the perceived credibility higher for an impact-first brand or for a profit-first brand? And yeah, that was confirmed. Indeed, the impact-first brands are seen as more credible. And then, interesting enough, you ask a second question, does it then make a difference? If you're more credible, then you would expect that you get more effect. And that was not confirmed. Purchase interest is not so much apparently determined by whether you're profit first or an impact first, which is, I would say, a very interesting answer for companies that are not purpose first right now and still want to consider to actually adopt a purpose. This was not confirmed. So what is more important is the purpose credible? So that's, I think, one of the interesting findings of this master study. And the other is, he did an explorative experiment. And we call something explorative if you just want to find out more before you start formulating hypotheses. And she used a shampoo brand communicating on Instagram with the 3 different communication strategies. And there, what she found was, it doesn't make a difference which approach you take in communication out of these 3, because you can think of other possible ways to communicate as well. But if you look only at these 3 different ways of communicating it, it doesn't make a difference. They're as attractive as the next. So they're not worse than each other. They're not better than each other. They're all 3. They're good. Basically, that's the outcome of it. What are then the learnings? Yeah, it's crucial to think how you communicate it, because it's not only these 3 communication strategies. It's also strong companies actually communicate and incorporate their purpose in everything they do. They talk about, they communicate about, but more importantly, in their behavior, how they act according to that purpose. And that's a very interesting recommendation as well, because that's, I mean, nowadays, I mean, people are very cynical towards the intentions of companies, and people are very cynical towards marketing communications. They're bombarded with messages every day, and they have also numerous examples usually of not credible kind of ways of communicating and behaving in business life. So there's already a lot of cynicism. So what people will look at, for example, is, are you prepared to really offer up part of your profit to support the purpose that you're behind? Or do you give preference to making a profit instead of supporting the purpose? That's a sort of litmus test. That's what separates the man from the boys. And consumers know that, and they have a feeling for that, and that's how they judge companies as well. So it's not only how you communicate, it's more importantly also how you act, and not only externally, but also very importantly internally, because it's purpose is also a way to motivate people, and when you do it in the right way, you get all kinds of positive effects as well. Now, secondly, it doesn't matter which of the three purpose marketing communication strategies you use, and there are other ways still next to these three, by the way. And finally, impact first brands are found to be more credible. It doesn't make a big difference in the end effects, however, but when you're a profit first company, you have to be extra careful, because there is already all that cynicism. So you really have to live up to what you're promising and what you're saying, not only externally but also internally. And if you don't, then you get confronted with accusations of greenwashing, lying, and that might, in the end, somewhere down the line, hurt your company internally, or also externally in making less profit or less turnover. So those are some of the practical implications of her thesis, and I understand that they're now going to submit it actually as a real article in one of the scientific journals, which is nice. Very nice. Well done for Romy. Now,